Welcome back, guys. We are doing OG London. I think we are now OG Zwift Monthly 4, maybe? Anyway, a few guys in the comments from last week's race, and obviously I went on mad on the internet and told everyone I was going to do Cat B. So here we go, guys. Cat B racing. What is the difference between Cat B, Cat C? We're going to find out. A few things to bear in mind if you're new is I did an FTP test. There is a video on it. Came out 272, so that's my wattage. Watts per kg for the FTP, and it was a ramp test, by the way, just to fully inform you. Was 3.5 watts, and a few people were in the comments being like, "Oh, there's no way you're a Cat C, you're definitely a Cat B." So I was like, "Do you know what? Like, I will give it a crack. I'm not afraid of it." So this is it. This is me sitting in Cat B, and you can already look at the wattage out the gate. If you've been keeping an eye on it, it was high. But it felt like the Swifty start that you always get in a race goes on for longer. So my heart rate goes straight up. I mean, I'm holding 400 watts just to stay on the group here. Well, I have to nudge it every now and again to try and stay on the group. You can obviously see that I'm just falling backwards. 77 people in total in the race. Race 9 point something miles, 15k. There's 230 meters of vert in this, of climbing in this course. So I knew at some stage there was going to be a hill. Once we got halfway around the course, I realised that we were going up the Box Hill climb. And I knew that was like... Anyway, we'll get to that in a minute. I'm still holding 350 watts. My FTP is 275. So if you just keep an eye on the wattage and then my heart rate as well, you'll basically see that it doesn't let off. I will say that these Zwift monthly events where you get 77 people in them are not very indicative of regular Zwift racing races. I feel like the pace is always faster, especially if you get that number of people in. It felt like this front group as well had about 55 to 60 people in. So it was obviously going to be a fast moving front group. You can see on the mini-map a couple of people were riding off the front, which is ballsy, guys. I applaud you. I think the thing is, like, I am struggling to just sit on the back of this pack. I'm trying to stay in the draft as much as possible and work as much as possible. But the entire time, every time I'm kind of looking at my heart rate, I'm having to kick well over my FTP to just stay in the draft and stay in this massive group. So it's moving, and I work in old money, so I'm miles per hour, and we're going 35 miles per hour. Obviously that's not, the correlation to real speed and wattage is 0, but real life speed anyway. But I was having to really work to stay in this group, and I've never felt like after the Swifty start, it kind of only really, it just didn't feel like it let off. Except for now. A little bit of a let off there. But it was a lot of hard work to stay in the group, and I, in all my infinite wisdom, had thrown it out to the internet that I was like, right, I'm not riding Cat C anymore, I'm going Cat B because I've got 3.4, 3.5 watts per kg. Guys, this one just chewed me up, spat me out. So I think I'm going to be a bit more selective with my race choices. I think if it's going to be a Zwift monthly race and there's going to be 70, 80, 50 people, like a big number of people, then I'm not sure I can ride Cat B because it's just going to be way too much for me. If it's a smaller race and the group is slightly smaller and slightly slower, then I think I've got half a chance of maybe just staying in at least a group. I couldn't quite figure out whether this ride, because so many people were in the front group, was going to split, and then if that was going to create two groups, or how it was going to work out. I am literally tearing my legs off to stay in this peloton. And as you can see, I'm actually just moving backwards at the same time. 272 is my FTP. I don't think I've spent a combined time of about 18 seconds under that this whole ride so far. We're only 4 minutes in. I do know a little bit about this course. I know there's a sharp right-hander and a hill, right? And I'm committed to this, guys. I'm committed to, trying to make the Cat B thing work. So I knew that if I wanted to stay with the group, I was going to have to work this damn hill. And that's something I did not really want to do. So it felt like the pace comes off a little bit, and I kind of use this opportunity to like dog up a little bit, just work a little bit, and then I just have to ride. So I hit 400, and I just try and hold decent wattage up this. It's not a hill, guys. Sorry, I've massively oversold this. It's an incline, like 4 or 5%. But people work it. I know it's like it's a thing. I've been riding this course enough around London to know that people like to ride to work this little climb. I think we drop a few people off. I wasn't really paying too much attention on the mini map whilst riding because I was just gasping for air. The race strings out, and I was kind of wondering whether it was going to split, and so I used my power up to try and stay the right side of a split. And God, the balls on me to think that I can stay the right side of a split and still ride it. And it looks like I'm about to basically get dropped from the group here as it strings out. So my kind of like I'm making those kind of internal decisions in my head, like. I'm like, is this worth it? Is life worth it? Is life worth living when you can't breathe? So I was just trying to work hard to stay up in the front group, and I just about make it. I think the nice thing was that obviously people coming through then gives you a little bit of a draft and helps you kind of ride back on. But I felt like the group rode the hill hard, and then they didn't, then luckily kind of gave me half a chance to kind of get back on and rejoin that front peloton. So remarkably, guys, we're 6 minutes in and I'm still in this damn thing, much to my dismay. But I will say that if you look at the wattage now, it has calmed down a little bit, although my heart rate has not got the memo and it's still sitting at 162, which is a struggle for me. Like, I think the work up the hill just like raised my heart rate massively. This little recovery section just it wasn't I just wasn't recovering how I needed to, because there's still 50 odd, maybe 55 people, maybe more, maybe 60 people in this front group, which is massive. So obviously the wattage comes back on, because why wouldn't it? Because now we're in Cat B, so you've got to be a strong ride. I'm so impressed with like just people's ability to ride bicycles, because I'm trying and I just like I'm getting small improvements in my over the course of the year. I've been making these little improvements, and I'm hoping that just carries on, because otherwise like I'm just in complete dismay at how you get to this level of cycling. Anyway, it feels like we're in the group. It feels like the group is recovering, because it's at this point I realise that we go through the subway, the underground, and then miraculously we end up at Box Hill and there's the climb. So I got a feeling that basically the pace had come off because there was a climb coming, and then everyone was just going to tear everyone's legs off, and that's when the group was going to break. I'm very happy with myself for having made it this far. And you can see, obviously, this is the recovery section where a few people are just letting off a little bit. There's no one riding off the front, just a big old group riding in the subway, in the underground, on our way to Box Hill to go and do a cheeky climb. So it definitely felt like the start was stronger in the Bs, and it kind of just more sustained. I think I don't really want to say that these Zwift monthly big participation number events are indicative of maybe a typical B race. I'm still going to race a few B races, loads of B races hopefully, but I think for the bigger races I'm going to have to race in the Cs, because at this stage I'm like dying. Even though it has given us a small chance to recover, we all know that the reason we're recovering is because there's about to be a hill climb, and I'm only 9 minutes into this ride. So I basically take my own life into my hands and decide that I'm going to give it a go and see whether I can do this climb. People start hitting the wattage. It obviously just goes straight up. We click through some gears, a few gear changes, try and settle in. It just didn't feel comfortable for me. Not to make excuses, I feel like I do it every time, but I did ride the Stone Circle 215k on Saturday. It's now Tuesday. Maybe there's a little bit of that. That was a 10-hour ride, gravel ride. So maybe there's a little bit of that still in the legs, but otherwise I was feeling good. Like I didn't feel like it was, you know, I just feel like the speed at the start of the race took it out of me more than just, you know, more than kind of coming into it fatigued. I was trying to give myself half a chance of staying on the group, but then I just know how long this climb is, and guys, I think this is the point when I just had to turn the kettle off because the water was not going to boil because I had no wattage to give. That's about me done, guys. So 10 minutes on the nose is what I lasted. I think if it had been flat, I would have given me more of a chance to ride with the group. I don't really know what to do other than try and train more and be better. I did give it half a thought about just finishing the ride on my own with a few maybe there's going to be a chase group, but then I couldn't be bothered. So that's it, guys. Cat B versus Cat C. It tore my legs off, threw my lungs out through my mouth. I'm going to give it a go in Cat C. I will be doing more Cat B races, but for now, I think that's about all I can handle. So, anyone in the comments on my FTP video or my Cat C cancelled video, you know, here we go. This is my comeuppance. But I will see you guys on the next one. Thanks for joining in.